Hi, everyone. I think we're going to get started. We're going to first have Miss Abu Talib, who is our family engagement facilitator, just give a little quick announcement in Spanish, and then we'll get started. You're on mute.
Sorry. Ok, hay un globo abajo donde pueden ir a apretar, entonces van a tener la traducción en español. Yo voy a traducir todo lo que se diga en la reunión y todo el que esté en la reunión va a entender la traducción en español.
All right. So I think Laura is going to go ahead into the interpretation room, and we'll get started. We're going to start first by introducing everybody. Oh, it's echoing. Okay, we're gonna get started by introducing everyone, and then I will give a little overview of the Carlton Innovation Plan, and then our classroom teachers will, yeah, I'm hearing like an echo, Jensen. Sorry, this is our first shot at this, so you guys are our guinea pigs. Well, is that better? Okay, so we'll give an introduction, and then I'll give an introduction of the innovation plan. Then the teachers will give like an overview of the curriculum and how everything happens at Carlton, and then we will take questions and have you get on your way. Thank you for coming. I am Bethy Ann Jellison, and I am the principal at the Carlton Innovation School. We have Lauren Weaver, who is our assistant principal. We have Mara Perlak, who is our P1 teacher. We have Katie Sletterink, who is the other P1 teacher. And then we have Miss Abu Talib, who is our interpreter / our family engagement facilitator here at Carlton. Our innovation plan, I know a lot of you probably don't know what that means. Carlton is one of two elementary innovation schools in Salem, the other being the Bentley Innovation School. We are innovation because we have some autonomies and some flexibilities in many things. The first thing, as you noticed, I introduced our teachers as P1 teachers. We call our grades / classes very different. We have P1, P2, E1, E2. Our P1 class consists of kindergarten standards, and the P stands for primary. So primary 1 is basically our kindergarten standards. We then have a P2 class, which is a 1-2 combined classroom, and that is our first and second grade standards. Then we have E1, which is elementary 1, which is our third grade standards, and then our E2, which is our fourth and fifth grade standards. We also have a flex teacher, which would teach sixth grade standards to anybody who got to that point. But right now we're going to concentrate on our P1, which is our kindergarten. And we call them cohorts and not grades because our innovation is continuous progress. So our whole innovation stands on when kids are ready, and also kids are taught at where they're at. So we have a few different ways that we utilize some of the staff at our school. We have, an art and a music teacher who also teach math. We have an extra math teacher in our P1 and our P2 classes so that we can make math smaller groupings. So kids, again, are going to get what they need during those smaller group settings. We also have that in our ELA, which is English Language Arts. So our students can be in smaller groups and get what they need in those small group instruction that we teach each block. We also, we have a different schedule at Carlton than the district, and that is because we hold transition meetings. Those transition meetings are what moves kids from each cohort. Kids are responsible for their learning, and they also hold their own transition meetings. The current classroom teacher, the receiving classroom teacher, and then a few other adults in the building would attend those meetings along with the student and their parents. And they talk about what they have learned in their current cohort and what they are anticipating or what can't wait to learn when they move on. They are such powerful, powerful meetings. And as the kids get older, it's just, it's overwhelming how important those meetings are to them. And every student in the school has a transition meeting depending on when they move to the next cohort. We also have community circles that we have at least every single half day. We will have community circles, and a community circle is one staff member in our building would have about 10 kids or 10 students in their group, and they remain with those students from the time they enter P1 till they end in E2. And we do social emotional learning through our community circles, which we read a book at an assembly. We do an activity from the book and then in the community circles, and then we have discussions. And it's really a powerful way for our students to get to know another adult in the building and to have someone who is a safe person for them to see. And also, it just gives them another person, because we really try to build community here at the Carlton. And we always say that once a student enters here, they're everyone's student, and we all own all of our kids, and they're always considered a Carlton student. So that's pretty much what the innovation plan does. I can take questions after the rest of the presentation. So if you have any questions, you can either put them in the chat now, or you can wait until afterwards. Our two P1 teachers are going to present the curriculum now, and then we'll take questions.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to put on our little PowerPoint. Give me 1 second. Can everyone see that? Just give me a thumbs up. Is it good, Katie? Okay, all right. Hi, welcome to Carlton. My name is Mara Perlak, and I am one of the P1 students, as Mrs. Jellison said, and we're so glad to have you here this evening. It's so nice to meet all of you. We wish that this was in person, but under the circumstances, we're glad you could all join us. We're so happy that your child, here, let me move this. We're so happy that your child will be in our classrooms this year. They'll be learning so many fun things, and we'll be excited to have them be part of our new adventure, or their new adventure. Like I said, I'm Mrs. Perlak. Just some fun facts if you want to take it home to your child. I'm married to Mr. Perlak. I live with my 2 sons, Luke and Dale. I also live with my puppy, Nigel. And the kids love seeing many pictures of my sons and Nigel. My favorite food is pizza, which is really well known around Carlton. My favorite animal is a cheetah. I love spending time with my family and Miss Lettering, who is my bestie. And now Miss Lettering will introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Miss Lettering. I'm the other P1 teacher. Unfortunately, I am not married to Mr. Perlak. I do live in Beverly. My favorite food is king crab legs. My favorite animal is a penguin. And I love spending time with my friends and Mrs. Perlak any chance I get outside of school. So we're really a close-knit pair.
Some of our other P1 support staff are Mary McKenna, who is our math teacher, which we have an extra math teacher to help with the cohorts so that your child can be put, as they come in, placed where they where it meets their, where they are at. So it will meet them where they are at. So if they come in and they're already really strong as a mathematician, we won't keep them in those early foundational skills. We'll move them on to the next cohort. And we also do the same thing for our phonics and our ELA. We make sure that your students are met where they are at. And our literacy coach is Rich Chiso. We also have our reading teacher, Kristen Meshlam. Our inclusion specialist is Christine Tupper, and our ESL teacher is Kylie Felix. I'm sorry, I'm getting confused with my words here. All right. Expectations in the classroom. Bringing the green folder and book bags to school every day is really important for your child, because the green folders give us a way to communicate back and forth. If you need to put a note or any other kinds of communication, you can put it right into their green folder. Any notices that go home will also go into the green folder, as well as your child's work that they're working on or have completed or need to complete. The book bags will be a cloth book bag that will go home for your child to be able to read at home. We usually give your child 3 books that they can take home. And when they read their 3 books, they bring them back and they can switch them out. We usually switch twice a week, but I encourage children to be able to read as much as they can. And then if they do, they can come and switch their books anytime. Using kind words and safe bodies within the classroom is a must, and we definitely teach this through our social and emotional learning, to be able to have your students understand more than just kind words and safe bodies. Whole body listening is another method that we use, where eyes are watching, ears are listening, mouths are quiet, and bodies are still. Maintaining a clean and safe environment, we will provide that for your child, as well as they will be responsible for that on their own. They will be responsible for personal items, water bottles, sweatshirts, materials, and so on. And as a school, we strive to show growth in the following areas of community, effort, and curiosity. And we use a sticker method that's like a bigger, more vibrant sticker that your child will receive. They usually put it on their clothing, and it's seen by all throughout the school. And they know exactly what they got it for, where they're able to communicate that to any teacher that's asking them as they walk around proud of their hard work. And right now we are always wearing our masks. Just go to this. So the curriculum information, which I think a lot of you think are really important, so I want to get to that. We use MyView for writer's workshop, reader's workshop, and guided reading. We do use Fountas and Pinnell as well for our books for LLI. We also use Foundations and Words Their Way for phonics. Math, we use a little bit of Envisions, Eureka, Howard County. We're able to, like Mrs. Jellison said, we have the autonomy to really develop what we're going to be teaching for your students, to meet your students where they are, and like not teach to an actual program, but to teach to the children that are in front of us, so that we make it very known that it's not a one size fits all for all students. So we're really like tailoring it to the students that are in front of us. Like I mentioned earlier, our social and emotional curriculum is so important, especially right now with everything that's happening in the world. And we use Caring School Community for that. Science, we're using a lot of mystery science, and then we pull some from some other resources, but the standards that we'll be teaching are energy and the sun, matter, solids and liquids, forces and motion, impacts on earth systems, plants and animals, and then weather is interweaved throughout all of the different standards that we teach. For social studies, we teach our classroom community, traditions, maps, and globes. All right, I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Lettering so you can complete the PowerPoint.
All right, so on the screen we have our specialist schedule, and obviously if you choose to come to Carlton, we will forward this information along to you. But typically we have gym twice a week, and then we have art and music once. And then on Wednesdays, we have what we call a Win Wednesday, and I'll get more into that in a second. But we just advise that students wear their sneakers on gym days and for Win Wednesday days as well. So I'm gonna take you through a day in the life in Carlton as a P1 student. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, we have the same schedule, and then I'll talk about our Wednesday schedule because it's all different. So every day your child comes in and we start off with the breakfast in the classroom, and that's a healthy, balanced breakfast provided by the school, and everyone is welcome to have it. You are also welcome to bring your own breakfast from home if your child prefers. We just advise against bringing any fast food breakfast into the classroom. After breakfast, we have morning meeting, which is driven by our Caring School Community curriculum. We start off welcoming all the students in the classroom. We do a greeting, a share, an activity. Then we do our calendar. And then we are all on the rug waiting for Mrs. Jellison's school announcements. After morning meeting, we go right into phonics. And for phonics, it's tailored to where your student is. So half of our students are learning letters, 2 letters a week from foundations, and other half of our students are manipulating word sorts and sounds using words their way. We also teach 2 sight words a week, and we differentiate it based on where your student is. After phonics, we go right into Reader's Workshop, where we do a My View mini lesson, which entails a discussion, and then they go back and they do an independent practice piece to it. After Reader's Workshop, we have guided reading and centers. And during guided reading, we pull small groups and we teach your child how to read. And then as we're teaching a small group, the other students are working independently during centers. And during that time, they can either do paper pencil work, or they're doing hands-on manipulating sounds. They could choose something from the writing center. They could read to themselves or even read to a friend. So it's really filled with a lot of enriched activities. After centers and guided reading, we have snack and recess. Then we go into math. And for math, that's when we split up into our 3 trimester math groups. So your child will be placed based on where they are academically. And each math group, they go in and they have a mini lesson, a discussion, and then they also have independent practice there as well. And then at the end of each math block, the students go back to their original homeroom, and we put them on the computers to use ST Math and Happy Numbers, which is provided by the district. After math, we go into Writer's Workshop, which is also another My View mini lesson, a discussion, and then they have the chance to write independently on their own. And during that time, we pull up small groups and we conference with them to make sure that they're grasping what was taught to them on the rug. After Writer's Workshop, we have lunch and recess. And then when they come back from recess, that's when we kind of get into like the science and social studies. Or then we have closing circle. We'll do a social emotional skill building lesson. After our closing circle, they'll head off to specialists. And then when they come back from specialists, they go home for the day. And then as for Wednesday, we have some components that are the same. But as you can see, we include reading buddies where we pair up with an E1 class, and they come in and we pair them up with a student. And it's really just to build a community within the school. And it's also just a fun activity. They get to read to someone older, or someone older gets to read to them. Then we have a long win block, and that's an enrichment block where the students get to go. They can spend more time with the specialist depending on what they have that day. And it's also a time that they can work on Lexia or ST Math as well. And then at the bottom, you see that there's an SEL lesson block. And so we'll teach something at the beginning of the week on Monday and instill it through every morning meeting. And then on Wednesday, we really have that concrete lesson. And then from there, they'll apply what they learned in their social emotional lesson and add it to their guided play, which is just a fun way for them to use their new way of interacting with each other while also playing. Here is our contact information that we'll be giving out as well if you choose to come to Carlton. But yeah, we also use Parent Square for communication. And then any questions?
Okay, so there's definitely one question. Can we unshare the screen?
I'm trying. There we go. Okay, sorry.
We're new to this. Okay, there's one question, and it says, what is My View, Envisions, Eureka, etc.? So the those are programs that we have either bought, the district has purchased, or we had purchased a while ago. What happens at Carlton, My View this year is a district program that we all, every elementary school is using for our ELA, which is English Language Arts. So for our reading and writing block, every elementary school in the district is using My View K-2, except for Bentley. I think they're using something different, but all the other 5 elementary schools are using that. And it's a program. And what it does is it takes the standards for each grade level and it breaks it up into thematic units. And all the schools use it. And we teach those thematic units through both reading and writing. And it brings in some science and some social studies into those units. And it helps guide the instruction that we give. Eureka and Envision are both math programs. And those math programs, so at Carlton, because we have the autonomy for the curriculum, we have chosen not to use a one math program, but taken the standards and using what we find to be the best way to teach a standard. It also helps us differentiate because we break those standards down into small pieces to make sure that students are getting what they need, and we can find an entry point because a standard is really big and those standards can be very meaty. And so you need some things to just actually break down those standards and help you teach them. So those are programs that we use to teach those standards. What is the typical class size? So the typical class size in P1 is 21, and we are always full. We always have 21 students in each class. I think the district is all pretty much full as well. I think every kindergarten class would have 21 students. As you move up the grade levels, our P2 class is usually around 20 to 23. We cannot be higher than 23. We usually hover around 20, 21. This year, we're a little bit higher right now, but we fluctuate because of the movement every trimester. And then E1 usually has 20 to 22 kids. This trimester, they're at about 15, but starting in March, they'll be back up to 20 with the addition of the new kids that are coming. And then our E2s are usually pretty high. We're usually in between 20 and 22, and we're at that right now. They may be a little bit higher after March or may not. We haven't made those final decisions yet as to where everybody's being placed, but they can be as high as 25. And I do know there are a couple schools in the district that have a 4th or a 5th grade class at 25. The next question is, if you're teaching 2 letters per week during phonics, how are the students doing independent writing during writer's workshop? So Mara or Katie, do you want to answer that?
Takes time. So in the beginning, we're working on students to generate ideas and really kind of talk about their what they would be writing. And they sometimes write a story through pictures or illustrations for a good chunk of the beginning of P1. However, lots of students do come in with a lot of letter skills. That doesn't mean that they have to, but if they do, then they are learning how to apply that to their writing through labeling, even first sounds, and then it starts to grow and it becomes like magical, and it is really cool to see. But a lot of it is being able to talk about their ideas and sharing it with each other and planning. It's a huge process. So it's like more of those pre-writing skills that are really starting out. And then because there's the cohorts, they're all at different levels. They learn from each other. So some students are already writing and some students are telling it through a story and some students are somewhere in the middle. But it works and it's really cool.
The next question asks, my son has an IEP from pre-K. How do you handle that? And we get students that have IEPs. We also we have 2 inclusion teachers, and they are special ed teachers, and they will make sure that they cover what's on the IEP. So if they have an IEP for ELA or math, they will get that time through our special education teacher, or if they just have counseling, or if they have speech or OT, PT, whatever they have, we have all of those resources here as well. And so we make sure that anybody who has an IEP, all of their IEP recommendations are being followed because it is that is a legal document. And so every school would have an inclusion teacher or a special education teacher that would make sure that they got their services and use the goals on the IEP to follow. We do get kids from the the pre-K school at Bentley, and they do come in with IEPs. So, and they're placed appropriately. Are there any other questions? This is so hard for me, and I'm going to be really honest. I can't see anybody's faces, so I can't read the room, or and you guys probably can't read our faces either. But there's a couple things that I like to say to the families that come. We have some fantastic schools in Salem. I think all of our elementary schools are really, really great. Each school has a little different. I think it's really important that you can get to the schools. It's not definite, but I've heard that they're going to allow families to come in after February vacation prior to when the applications are due. And I think that's such an important part of coming to the school and getting to meet the teachers and the admin and the people in the building and just feeling the school, because, our school is really small. We really build a community here. And other schools that are bigger have different ways to build that community. And you really just need to know where you fit in when you walk in that building. You can really tell. And I like to be honest and upfront with families too. We have a lot of transitions at Carlton. We have 3 cohorts for math, so you don't always have your classroom teacher. And if your child is someone who really needs that one person and transitions aren't great, then I always say Carlton may not be the right place for you. It's not to say they can't learn it and they can't, be positive and be successful here. But I do like to be upfront with families to let them know that with our transitions. Sometimes it's hard for kids. I just think you really need to get out. I think we are the first school that's presenting. And I just think if you can and you have time to go listen to the other schools, they're all great. Do you guys have anything else to say? Mrs. Weaver, Mrs. Abu Talib. Okay, this is a quiet bunch. We had lots of questions this morning. I can say that I am way better with email. So if you have any questions and you're afraid to ask or didn't, have a way to ask, please email me. It's B as in boy, Jellison with a J, ELLISON at salemk12.org. And it's also on the website where you click to come into this webinar, so you can find it there as well. And just go ahead and ask me a question or whatnot, because we will answer. And I do see you asked about the after school. We do have the YMCA here, but we also have buses that go to Salem Community, Catholic Charities, and the Boys and Girls Club. And is there any place else, Mrs. Weaver?
Karate.
Oh, and karate. Yep, karate also. So we also have a van that goes to karate. So those are all available. The YMCA is on site. So they are here. I believe they're almost at all of the schools now. So that is available.
Mrs. Jellison, can I just offer one other thing? If you are considering using some sort of after-school program for your kiddo next year, I would look into it sooner rather than later. Like Mrs. Jellison said, most schools I do believe have on-site now. Not all of them do, and some of them fill up pretty quickly. So that is something that you'd probably want to look into.
All right. I don't see any other questions. Thank you all for coming. I wish I could see your faces, and thank you, but maybe I'll see you at the beginning of March. If not, good luck with your with the process, and good luck. See you later. Bye.